Yo, yo.
Let's make sure we get a little bit of the cat. Oh, I accidentally typed Blink Tiger.
Let's talk about Back to the Back.
Back to the Back.
This song is Back to the Back.
So Back to the Back is the first track on Lock the Gate. And when we, as Blind Tiger, were trying to come up with what song was going to be the first one, we really wanted a trailer or a preview to what the album was going to sound like. As a band that dips our toes into so many different genre pools, we thought it was important that the listener knows what they're getting into with this album. So with Back to the Back, we touch base on a lot of different places. We've got our like standard hardcore, we're gonna mosh to this kind of stuff. And then we've got some kind of mathcore stuff where we're dancing around the quarter note. It's not necessarily changing the time signature that really makes things mathy. Sometimes it's just about being tight and being able to play as the song progresses from beginning to end. It goes from heavy hardcore mosh style music to more progressive sound where Nick is singing, and I think that was really, really important to incorporate on the first track, just so everybody knows that we're a screaming band, but we also have some singing in there.
This is a preface. Nothing I write is meant to be... It might sound controversial, but I feel like it's honest and fair, but that's just my opinion. I feel like if it does upset you, maybe you should write your own songs about how you feel about it. Because that's what I do. This is how I cope with feelings and singing. This is an explanation, if you will, but I'm just gonna talk about my lyrics a little bit. As you can see, everyone else is talking about the music parts or whatever. We're recording there, but my cam is a little wonky. All right.
Without further ado, to not make this video 500 years long, let's get into this song.
I always loved how the album just jumps in right off the bat.
Thanks here, appreciate you spending the next couple of minutes with me. I have burned over, I don't know.
Back to the Back.
This song opens up with some pretty immediate alliteration, which ties together the whole band's rhythmic structure of the song, right off the hit. And I feel like by doing that, in context of the whole album, it really sets us up on the correct foot as opposed to the right foot. Whatever. Bad jokes.
About to talk about this.
Okay, so I typically play this intro pretty exactly like the record most times.
So this first riff, Mikey was like, I want to do this rhythm, and it was a little off time. It's like bum 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 bum. I think it's 5/4. I was still figuring out how to play crazy chaotic stuff on guitar, so I was just we'll break down the tritone chords and just go bam 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 bam. Just go up the board with it, why not? And then we get
It's the hard two-step part.
Always got this part. Always got it mixed up when I was learning it. Steve said it correctly.
Corey Anderson, our former second guitarist, one of the founding members, he wrote that part. I don't know, he just kind of whipped it out real quick. We were like, let's do a little thrashy part, a little thrashy two-step type thing. And he just kind of whipped it out with some random bar chords, and I was like, good God, the spacing on that is insane. 3-1 open, 4-6 open. And that's not too crazy, but at the time it was just a lot of moving around the fretboard for me because I was still getting used to that kind of stuff. So it definitely helped me out with stretching my fingers and all that. So that's pretty cool.
The opening lyrical passage is followed by a carefree feeling that stems from spending time with loved ones, while also pushing an idea of vulnerability with hints that who you thought once was your friend is actually a backstabber.
Also, for the record, when I heard this part of the song, right after we had recorded Nick's vocals for it, I had never really heard his vocals for it after like a year or so of playing the song. I'd never really like heard it because we didn't have a good practice space at the time. Honestly, I was kind of put off by the way the vocals sounded because I didn't expect for them to be like that. But over time, they've definitely grown on me a lot, and Nick Lundy is the best vocalist ever. So don't fuck with him.
Okay.
I do like a diminished thing here now.
So that part was originally a riff that I wrote to go with the opening riff of Styx, the last song on our album. Before Styx was like fully written, of course. I was just messing around with some riffs at home. I wrote that opening riff for Styx, the bang, 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 and then I had to go straight into the bang. But at a certain point, I think something just clicked in my brain where I was like, those don't really go together. Or maybe I even forgot that I put them together, because I remember finding that recording of me doing that later on and being like, whoa, I did this. But I remember just like we needed a next part while we were writing it, and I was like, yo, let's put this in there. So we put that in there. That's just kind of how we like wrote stuff back in the day when it was me, Michael, Nick, Corey, and Albert. It was like, we got to finish writing this song right now, so let's like figure out what the next part is, and that's like how we did it. And we still do it like that sometimes. It's not a bad way to do it, but
At this point of realization, the individual experiencing said actions gets a clearer view of the bullshit, so to speak. This newfound understanding of the situation drives the person to have their voice heard no matter what. Like, no one is going to speak out, against me. Not like silencing free speech, but you're going to hear me, by God. I'm important.
You've never had Stephen Washburn give you the stare of death? It's not fun, especially when you're playing. It's like...
Been doing that little diminished thing live.
Okay, so when we were writing the album, Steve wanted me to do a 3 right there. Goom, goom, goom. But when I was recording it, I really did not feel comfortable enough doing that, just because I was only 18 when we recorded this, and my double bass chops were horrible. Like, my double bass chops are still like not what I want them to be, but they were really bad then, and I was not comfortable putting a triplet digga-da-doom in the record, so I put a nice safe 2 in there, and Steve will never live it down. And so now every time we play it live, I'll do a 3 or even a 4 sometimes if I have enough energy and I'm feeling spunky. So that's the story behind the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Every riff kind of has a story, but I can't really get into all of them. Some of them are a little bit inside stories. Breakdown. My eyes part is just breakdown.
The remnants of the dispute are still very vivid and painful. That's what I would mean by the blade remains to catch the blood. And despite what's going on around them, they're still very persistent.
that breakdown originally started as an inside joke that I'm not going to get into. But then we all just kind of like thought it was dope as fuck, and we were like, yeah, that's heavy, boy, let's put that in there. So we kept it in there. The name of the song was also an extension of this inside joke, and I'm glad we changed it. Speaking of which, the name of the song is Back to the Back, and we got that from some ridiculous videos on YouTube called YouTube Poop. We got it from these videos where they edited The Rock saying stupid stuff, and he said, "Back to the back."
The Rock has come back to the back.
I thought it was funny. I don't know.
There we go. Okay, so 2 parts going on. Rhythm guitar,
And some power chords.
Nick and Steve's interplay. There's 2 kind of things going on right there, and I really like that.
Corey and Albert came up with like just a basic sort of riff, the that thing, and like, you know, I was like, yeah, that rocks, but I'm gonna put a little melody over it. So I did the thing, yeah, I feel like we were kind of divided on whether or not like we wanted to keep that in there, but I was like very stern, like, I'm going to keep it in there because it's cool, and we all ended up liking it over time anyways. And then Nick wrote his vocal line around the melody, and when he recorded his vocals for it, I tried to record harmonies to that, the silhouettes part, but I don't know, it just kind of felt weird and seemed like too much. But when we play it live lately, especially on this last tour we did in December, I've kind of just started going and doing my harmonies on it just because I feel like it, and I think it kind of sounds cool in the live setting. It's like real intense, and I think that pretty much covers my perspective of the background of the Back to the Back.
You know, like putting you in this situation, by the end of the song, you were completely transformed into someone that can stand up for yourself, and your persistence is only elevating at this point. Yeah. Until you've peaked.
I love that. Steve has a great ear for music. I love that. Love everything he does. It's just, it all just sits really well in your ears. I do that every time live. A big pet peeve of mine is when drummers don't play the really awesome parts that they did on the album. Coming up. To nothing.
Such a little ballad there at the end. The album just starts off with a very complete piece.
That leads to in the future on the album, but I think what I wanted was, we're building up. People think something's going to happen, like a big breakdown or something, which would have been cool. And we have the option to do that if we want to. But I think it's really, really cool that we have that cutoff, because we literally, in a live performance setting, can put anything there. You know, we could put like a big breakdown, we could put a big singing part, and I like how much we can do with it. We had Albert and Corey in the band. They wanted to keep the song going, but it was just, at that point, we were just like riff for riff for riff for riff. We were just trying to pump them out, and we were all just like, well, what if that's the song? What if it ends that way? What if that's how it happens? And we decided that that's what we wanted to do, and I think it's really, really cool. That's been my take on Back to the Back.
This piece, I would say, teases the listener's appetite with the ending melodic singing chorus, and then closing with the final 3 lyrics, "You crave more." I feel like that whole ending, you know, the silhouettes of carelessness will crack my, you know, the part that goes, you know, the part that goes, that whole part, you know, it's kind of goes into like a dreamy state all of a sudden after like a very abrasive beginning start, and then like it ends in the whatever. In the whole song, you're getting like a complete spectrum of what we're capable of what to expect. You know, it's just gonna grow. I don't know, we're gonna keep expanding on this idea. You already know that we're yelling, screaming, shouting, and singing. You know, and playing drums and guitars and drums and basses and guitars and musics and singing and yelling and dancing and crying and shouting and fighting. No fighting, no violence. We don't stand for violence. No violence. Be safe. But anyway, that closing line, you crave more. I feel like now that I'm looking at it, honestly, with fresh eyes, no bullshit, it just kind of sets up the rest of the album by saying you crave more, and then we give you more. Blind Tiger delivers. The question is, do you crave more?
If you like this video, comment, like, and subscribe for more of them, because we're going to do the whole dang album.
Send us a comment. Tell us, when's your birthday? What's your favorite color? Who's your boyfriend or girlfriend or non-gender conforming friend? Everyone's welcome. We love you. Have a good night. Look out for future uploads. The camera's done and I'm done. Good night. This video's over. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.